Hey guys, welcome to Lawpedic, and today we're going to be talking about if it's illegal or not to walk on the highway and the interstate. And if you've never watched any of my videos, I have spent this year learning everything I can about law, and these are some questions. I usually answer questions I'm really interested in and love to learn the background and some of the penalties and some of the consequences and really diving deep on the topics within the videos. So today's topic is it illegal to walk on the highway? And I'm excited to jump into this. I think there's a lot of good stuff in this one. And I have some really interesting things to tell you about it that I've experienced myself. So let's jump in. All right. So a quick summary is yes, it is illegal to walk on the interstate. And in a slide or two, I'm going to tell you the difference between the interstate and the highway because that really makes a difference on if it's going to be illegal or not. And the state's going to make a difference as well. But overall, if you're walking on the interstate, it is illegal. But if you're on a county or highway road, it's gonna depend on the state, and it's gonna depend on a couple different factors on if they've created laws around that. So, like for example, in Kansas, where a sidewalk is not available, any pedestrian walking along or upon a highway shall walk only on the shoulder as far as practicable from the edge of the roadway. So basically, there's no sidewalk. You're allowed. Oh, I just jumped. You're allowed to walk on the road, but you need to be on the edge of the shoulder. So let's jump into a little bit more here. So what's the difference between an interstate and a highway? So an interstate are most of the times roads that go between states. So like from Mississippi to Georgia to Alabama. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out my geography here. Yeah, so to go across 3 different states or multiple different states, you can think of like Highway 70, Highway 430, I believe there's another, or Interstate 430. And then highways and county roads usually just go in the state. So like in Missouri, there's Highway 36. And Highway 36 goes from one edge of the state to the other edge. And then the highway notion that dates. And then you have county roads who are only within the counties. Hopefully that's a good example. If not, you can read a little bit more here and on the blog post, which I'll have below, which will give like a more in-depth version. But those are the two different differences. And with the interstate, they're usually 2-lane in there. I think they usually go up from like 70 mile an hour to like 85. I think I've seen an 85 mile an hour one in Wyoming, I believe, and Montana. So why is it illegal to walk on the highway? It's illegal to walk on the interstate because it's not really built to be walked on. Cars are hauling butt on the highway. And there's not really any like intersections or anything. It's all just a straight road. And the only time you can get off is usually off ramps, which have highways going above them. And the only time in the middle is for like emergency access where you see those like no turnaround signs. So that's usually why it's illegal. It's just extremely dangerous. Like you can get hit really easily. Anything you can cause an accident from people not seeing you there. There's a lot of stuff. So they're like, hey, let's make this illegal. Let's not let this happen because accidents can be caused. So what are the penalties for walking on the interstate? I've put in a couple different states to give you guys some better examples. In California, if you're caught walking on the interstate, you can be fined up to $1,000 and sentenced to 6 months in jail. In Texas, it's a misdemeanor, and it is also $500 and 6 months up in jail. In New York, it is a violation. It's $250 and sentence up to 15 days in jail. But I will say it would be interesting to see someone go to jail for walking on the highway unless they're actually trying to cause an accident. Most of the time, they're just going to move you and be like, let me take you to this county road or let me take you to this town up here or whatever, unless you're doing something very illegal. But most of the time, they're not going to send you to jail or give you a fine. They're just going to move you off the interstate and tell you not to do it again. So that's just something to be cautious of. Always check with your state if you're going to go ahead and walk on the interstate. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend it because it's pretty blatantly illegal in places and there's a good chance you're going to get caught. But like I said, if you're going to do it, check with your state, see if there's any workarounds or anything along those sorts. So what about highways and state roads? As I mentioned earlier, it really depends. Most places, if there's no sidewalks, there's usually not laws against walking on the highway. And I could be wrong there. Always check your state. But from what I've seen, there's usually like, hey, you can walk on it. There's no sidewalk because most of the time it's our duty to give you a sidewalk. Like I said, check with your state, check with your county, check with your town. Those are all going to have specific ordinances dealing with that and ordinating that. Um, I don't really need to tell you why it's dangerous to walk on the highway, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you. So I walked from New York City, or actually, I walked from Kansas City to New York City probably 4 years ago, and I used a lot of the highways. And we can talk about a whole nother video, but this one works for now. There were a lot of things that happened that made me realize, wow, walking on the highway is a very dangerous thing. One, they're going at high speeds. Um, there's like no spots for you to enter or exit unless you're like coming in from town. You can just like walk down through the grass, but there's no like designated spots. A lot of people didn't see me on the road. Like I had one girl almost hit me because she was doing her makeup and she just wasn't paying attention. And like I said, lack of sidewalks or designated walking paths. So it's really not safe to walk on the highway at probably any point, but if it needs done, it needs done. But it needs to be done safely, which goes into our next section. Here are some things to help you stay safe. So you want to stay as far away from the road as possible. So you can be on the very edge of the median, or you can be in the grass as far as you can be. Walk facing traffic. So always walk towards traffic so you can see a car coming towards you, so you can get out of the way if you see it veering off. Walk on the shoulder rather than the lanes. Of course, don't walk where the cars are driving. That doesn't sound like the most complicated thing to understand. And then don't walk on the highway if you're under the influence of alcohol or drugs. You don't want to be stumbling down the highway. So I recommend to not be walking on the highway when you can't walk in general. Those are just a couple ways to help you stay safe. Hopefully they help in a way. To have a conclusion, guys, it's not necessarily illegal, but you should always check with where you live. Though I would not walk on an interstate. That is illegal almost everywhere. So just be safe. Think ahead. If you guys have to walk on it, so be it. But be safe. Check the laws. Be safe. I cannot over talk about being safe. But yeah. Thank you guys for watching today's video. It's a pretty short one. I think it's like 7 minutes. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an expert, but I do love learning about law and I love learning how this nation works. So this is just a journey of me learning about these different topics and then giving it to you guys. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you next video.